Hello, everyone, and welcome to Enlightening India. Today, we are going to read the third chapter of the book, Five Go To Smuggler Stop by Enid Blyton. Before we get into chapter 3, let's quickly see what happened in chapter 2. So, in chapter 2, while the children had come home, had a great snack, and then when they went to bed, during the night, a tree had fallen on the house. Gratefully, everybody was safe, but the house was more or less destroyed. So, there was a concern on where the children were going to spend the holidays. And with that ending, chapter 2 had ended. Now let's begin chapter 3. Chapter 3, Uncle Quentin has an idea. Next morning, the wind was still high, but the fury of the gale was gone. The fishermen on the beach were relieved to find their boats had suffered very little damage. But word soon went around about the incident at Kirin Cottage, and a few sightseers came up to marvel at the sight of the great uprooted tree lying heavily on the little house. The children rather enjoyed the importance of relating how nearly they had escaped with their lives. In the light of day, it was surprising what damage the big tree had done. So the tree had fallen, and since it was a very big tree, the word got around, and people came to see what has happened. Where has the tree fallen, and what all damage has it done? So and that was going on around. And if you would remember in chapter 2, since it was very windy, there was a concern that the fisherman's boat would get smashed, correct? But hopefully in the morning the wind had calmed down, but it was still not gone away. It has still not gone away. It's still very windy. It had cracked the roof of the house like an eggshell. The tree had cracked the roof of the house like an eggshell, and the room upstairs were in a terrible mess. The woman who came up from the village to help Aunt Fanny during the day exclaimed at the sight. Why, ma'am, it will take weeks to set that right, she said. Have you got on to the builders, ma'am? I would get them up right here, right away, and let them see what's to be done. So people are concerned. Somebody has come from the village to help Aunt Fanny since there was a lot of destruction around. And she tells her, this is bad. It's going to take days, if not weeks, to correct all this. Let's quickly talk to builders and let's get everything going. I am seeing two things, Mrs. Daly, said Uncle Quentin. My wife has had a great shock. She's not fit to see to things herself. The first thing to do is to decide what is to happen to the children. They can't remain here while there are no usable bedrooms. They had better go back to school. Poor things, said Aunt Fanny. No, I have got a better idea than that, said Uncle Quentin, fishing a letter out of his pocket. Much better. I've had a letter from that fellow Lenore this morning. You know, the one who's interested in the same kind of experiments as I am. He says, let me find it. Wait a minute, I'll read you a bit. Yes, here it is. Uncle Quentin read it out. It is most kind of you to suggest my coming to stay with you and bringing my boy Pierre. Allow me to extend hospitality to you and your children also. I do not know how many you have, but all are welcome here in this big house. My Pierre will be glad of company, and so will be his sister Maribel. So, with all that going on, Uncle Quentin tells the lady who has come from the village, Mrs. Daly, that everything can be still managed, but where will the children sleep? Now that there are no beds, that's the first priority. So Uncle Quentin tells everyone in the house that he's got a letter from Mr. Lenore. If you would remember, this is a scientist who has to come and visit Uncle Quentin, and the letter says that that's great. Thank you for inviting all of us, but why don't you guys also come? That would be nice, right? So with all that going on, that's good news. The children can go to a place, but let's see how that pans out. Uncle Quentin looked up triumphantly at his wife. There you are. I call that a most generous invitation. It couldn't have come at a better time. We'll pack the whole of the children off to this fellow's house. But Quentin, you can't possibly do that. Why? We don't know anything about him or his family, said Aunt Fanny. His boy goes to the same school as Julian and Dick, and I know Lenore is a remarkably clever fellow, said Uncle Quentin, as if that was all that really mattered. I will telephone him now. What's his number? Aunt Fanny felt helpless in face of her husband's sudden determination to settle everything himself. So earlier, Aunt Fanny was happy that Uncle Quentin is taking up a lot of responsibility and is helping out on what could be done about the children. And Uncle Quentin's idea, Aunt Fanny did not like it very much. She was she didn't want to just send the children to some random stranger's house. Okay, he might be a smart scientist, but we don't know anything about him, right? So you wouldn't want to send your children. So Aunt Fanny was very doubtful about the whole idea. He was ashamed because it was his forgetfulness that had brought on the accident to the house. Now he was going to show that he could see to things if he liked. She heard him telephoning and frowned. How could they possibly send off the children to a strange place like that? Uncle Quentin put down the receiver and went to find his wife, looking jubilant and very pleased with himself. So the whole thing again, Aunt Fanny is very doubtful about it, but Uncle Quentin goes ahead and makes a phone call to his friend. He must have told him the whole story. We read about it. He must have told Mr. Lenore about how the tree had fallen on his house, how the children don't have a place to go, and they must have decided, yes, we can have the children over at Mr. Lenore's place. And jubilant means very happily. Okay, it's all settled, said Uncle Quentin. Lenore is delighted, most delighted. Says he loves children about the place, and so does his wife. And his two will be thrilled to have them. If we can hire a car today, they can go at once. But Quentin, we can't let them go off like that to a strange place, with strange people. They will hate it. I should not be surprised if George refuses to go, said his wife. Oh, that reminds me. She's not to take Timothy, said Uncle Quentin. Apparently, Lenore doesn't like dogs. Well, then George won't go, said his wife. So Uncle Quentin thinks he's done something really great, and he thinks he's found a solution to the whole dilemma, to the whole problem that these guys have. But then when Uncle Quentin tells Aunt Fanny that Lenore would be glad to have the children, but he's not okay with having dogs. So Timmy can't go. And all of us already know, right? George loves Timmy a lot and would go nowhere without her pet dog. That's foolish, Quentin. George won't go anywhere without Timmy. She will have to this time, said Uncle Quentin, quite determined that George should not upset all of his marvelous plans. Here are the children. I will ask them what they feel about going and see what they say. He called them into his study. They came in, feeling sure that they were to hear bad news. Probably they were all to return to school. You remember that boy I spoke to you about last night? Began Uncle Quentin. Pierre Lenore. You had some absurd name for him. Sooty, yes, Sooty, said Dick and Julian together. Ah, yes, Sooty. Well, his father has kindly invited you all to go and stay with him at Smuggler's Top, said Uncle Quentin. The children were astonished. Smuggler's Top, said Dick, his fancy caught by the queer name. What's Smuggler Top? The name of his house, said Uncle Quentin. It's very old, built on the top of a queer hill, surrounded by marshes over which the sea once flowed. So Uncle Quentin breaks the news to the children that you guys will probably have to go to Pierre Lenore's house, and he wants to see how the children would react. They be comfortable with it? And then he also tells them that the name of the house where Pierre Lenore stays is Smuggler's Top. If you don't know what a smuggler is basically a person in the ancient old times. In the context here, a smuggler basically means who used to smuggle goods from one place to another. That is, who used to transport goods from one place to another, and these goods were generally stolen. They weren't rightfully purchased. So, it's a very secrety, mysterious thing, something going on here with the name. So Smuggler's Top is the name of Pierre Lenoir's house. And let's see. And it's a very old house here, built on the top of a very strange mountain. The hill was once an island, but now it's just a tall hill rising up from the marsh. Smuggling went on there in the old days. It's a very peculiar place, so I've heard. Peculiar means strange, and a marsh is the mountain is in a marshy area. A marshy is basically a very watery area. It's not water basically, but it's a very muddy area. It's a very wet soil. That area has a lot of wet soil. All this made the children feel excited. Right? These children are the famous five, so they are always looking for adventures. And with a house that sounds this exciting, built on a hill, very old, probably has a lot of tunnels and everything, so the children became very excited. Also, Julian and Dick had always liked Sooty Lenore. He was quite mad, but awful good fun. They might have a first-rate time with him. The children were excited. Dick and Julian knew who Sooty was, Pierre, as his proper name is, and they liked him a lot. He was a very fun person, and they were very excited to go to his place. Well, would you like to go, or would you rather go back to school for the holidays? Asked Uncle Quentin impatiently. Oh no, not back to school, said everyone at once. I would love to go to Smuggler's Top, said Dick. It sounds like a thrilling place. And I always liked old Sooty, especially since he sawed half through one of the legs of our form master's chair. It gave away at once, and when Mr. Tom sat down, hmm, I don't see that a trick. Like, I don't see that as a trick like that in any reason for liking someone, said Uncle Quentin, beginning to feel a little doubtful about Master Lenore. So the children were all very glad to go to Sooty's place, and suddenly the boys told everyone a thing that Sooty had done during the school days. They told him how he had broken a chair where the teacher was about to sit down, and when the teacher sat on it, obviously the chair broke, right, and the teacher fell down. So everybody was laughing, but Uncle Quentin wasn't very impressed. He was thinking, he was having second thoughts about Lenore Sooty. Perhaps, on the whole, school would be best for you. Oh, no, no, cried everyone. Let's go to Smuggler's Top. Let's. Very well, said Uncle Quentin, pleased at their eagerness to follow his plan. As a matter of fact, I've already settled it. I telephoned a few minutes ago. Mr. Lenore was very kind about it all. Can I take Timmy? Asked George suddenly. Everything well and good, but George is all concerned about her pet dog. Can she take Timmy? No, said her father. I'm afraid not. Mr. Lenore doesn't like dogs. Then I should not like him, said George sulkily. I won't go without Timmy. You'll have to go back to school then, said her father sharply. And take off that sulky expression, George. You know how I dislike it. So George was very upset with the whole thing. And she said that she would not go without Timmy. If Timmy is not going, I'm not going. But George did not want to agree with her father. She turned away. The other looked at her in dismay. Dismay means in sadness. Surely, old George wasn't going to get into one of her moods and spoil everything. It would be fun to go to Smuggler's Top, but of course, it certainly would not be so much fun without Timmy. Everybody wanted to go to Smuggler's Top because it sounded exciting, but they did not want to do it at the expense of George and Timmy. If Timmy did not go, that wouldn't be fair, right? They are the famous five. Timmy is a member of that group. So considering leaving him out did not make a lot of sense to the children. But they also did not want to go back to school, right? So it's either the Smuggler's Top or school. Let's see how this problem is solved. Still, they couldn't all go back to school just because George wouldn't go anywhere without her dog. They all went into the sitting room. Anne put her arm through George's. George shook it off. George, you simply must come with us, said Anne. I can't bear to go without you. It would be awful to see you going back to school all alone. I shouldn't be all alone, said George. I should have Timmy. So the children wanted to go to Smuggler's Stop and they wanted to convince George somehow to come without the dog. Let's see what happens. The others pressed her to change her mind, but she shook them off. Leave me alone, she said. I want to think. How are we supposed to get to Smuggler's Stop? And where is it? Which road do we take? We are going by car and it's right up the coast somewhere. So I accept we'll take the coast road, said Julian. Why, George? Don't ask questions, said George. So George was still not ready to go, but she was asking very weird questions. Questions like, where is the house? How are we going to get there? What road are we going to take? Now Julian got confused. Why is George asking all this? This is not even related to the problem at hand. It's maybe not even relevant. She went out with Timmy. The others didn't follow her. George was not very nice when she was cross. By the sentence when she was cross, the author means when she was angry. Aunt Fanny began to pack for them, though it was impossible to get some of the things from the girls' room. After a time, George came back, but Timmy was not with her. She looked more cheerful. Where's Tim? Asked Anne at once. Out somewhere, said George. Are you coming with us, George? Asked Julian, looking at her. Yes, I have made up my mind too, said George. But for some reason, she wouldn't look Julian in the eyes. He wondered why. So George went outside with Timmy, but came after some time to the house without Timmy. Everybody was astonished. What is going on here? And a few questions were asked. And I am personally getting a feeling that George is hiding something. She's played some game here that we don't know. Let's see. Aunt Fanny gave them all an early lunch, and then a big car came for them. They packed themselves inside. Uncle Quentin gave them all sorts of messages for Mr. Lenore, and Aunt Fanny kissed them goodbye. I do hope you have a nice time at Smuggler's Stop, she said. Mind you, write at once and tell me all about it. Aren't we going to say goodbye to Tim? Said Anne, her eyes opening wide in amazement at George forgetting. George, surely you're not going without saying goodbye to old Timmy. Can't stop now, said Uncle Quentin, afraid that George might suddenly become awkward again. So Aunt Fanny packed a good, a lunch for them, and a big car came to get them so that they can go to Smuggler Stop. Smuggler Stop is Pierre Lenore's house, Sootie's house, and Aunt Fanny tells them to write a letter to them. This is a story of the time when mobile phones weren't as common as they are today. So people used to write letters. We still do, but it's much more common to just send a WhatsApp message now, right? So she tells them, write a letter to me when you reach there and tell me all about the place. And that is when Timmy comes into the picture. George has done something that we don't know yet with Timmy. Maybe there's a plan somewhere. Okay, I'm getting the feeling that. And but Uncle Quentin tells them, hurry up, let's go. Because if Timmy came, then George might suddenly again say that she does not want to go. So Uncle Quentin, being the father that he is, he said, can't stop now, let's go, let's go. All right, driver, you can go off now. Don't drive too fast, please. Waving and shouting, the children drove away from Kirin Cottage. Sad when they looked back and saw the smashed roof under the fallen tree. Never mind, they had not been sent back to school. That was the main thing. Their spirits rose as they thought of Sooty and a squarely named home, Smuggler's Stop. So when they were going, they said bye to Uncle Quentin, Aunt Fanny. They were waving out the window, and that's all good. But when they were waving back, they saw the house. It was practically destroyed, and they felt very sad about it. But then, being children, they again thought of, okay, they're going to a very mysterious place, Smuggler's Stop, and they got their spirits rose. They became slightly more happy and went on with it. Smuggler's Top. It sounds too exciting for words, said Anne. I can picture it. An old house right on the top of a hill. Fancy being an island once. I wonder why the sea went back and left marshes instead. George said nothing for a while, and the car sped on. The other glanced at her. The others glanced at her once or twice, but came to the conclusion that she was grieving about Timmy. Still, she didn't look very sad. The car went over a hill and sped down to the bottom. When they got there, George leaned forward and touched the driver's arm. Would you stop a moment, please? We have to pick somebody up here. Julian, Dick, and Anne stared at George in surprise. So here's George. Everybody thought that she was sad, and they glanced at her. Glance means look over, look. They saw towards her and they didn't want to say anything because they thought George was actually sad since she had to leave Timmy behind. But then George does something very weird to say. She tells the driver, "Hey, can you stop the car? We need to pick one more person up." The driver, also rather surprised, drew the car to a standstill. Standstill means to a stop. He stopped the car. George opened the door and gave a loud whistle. Something shot out of the hedge and hurled itself joyfully into the car. It was Timmy. He licked everyone, trod on everyone's toes, and gave the little short barks that showed he was excited and happy. So she whistled when the car stopped, and Timmy came jumping from a hedge. A hedge means basically a small plant and a sort of grassy plant. And he jumped joyfully towards the car. Joyfully, happily. He licked everyone and trod on everyone's toes. So, he's a dog and he's very happy. So he smiled, he barked and he trod, he walked on everyone's toes and he just got into the car and gave little happy barks. Well, said the driver doubtfully, I don't know if you're supposed to take the dog in, miss. Your father didn't say anything about him. So the driver is now worried. Uncle Quentin, who hired the driver, did not say that he had to pick up a dog. So the driver was worried. It's all right, said George, her face red with joy. Quite all right. You need not worry. Start the car again, please. You're a monkey, said Julian, half annoyed with George and half pleased because Timmy was with them after all. So everybody's confused here. They are obviously slightly angry with George because she's disrespecting her parents right now. If Uncle Quentin got to know, they would get into trouble. But they're also very happy that the fifth member of their famous five is with them. Mr. Lenore, Miss send him back, We all know, right? Mr. Lenore does not like dogs. And Julian tells her that, okay, this is all right. We'll take him there now that we are here. But what if Mr. Lenore sends him back? Well, he'll have to send me back too, said George defiantly. Anyhow, the main thing is, we have got Timmy, after all, and I'm coming with you. Yes, yes, that's fine, said Anne, and gave first George and then Timmy a hug. I didn't like going without Tim either. So, George, now things are being said here. If Mr. Lenore sends the dog back, then George said that, I'll also come back. I'm not staying there without Timmy. And the children are also happy-ish that Timmy is back with them. On to Smuggler's Top, said Dick, as the car started off again. On to Smuggler's Top. I wonder if we shall have any adventures there. End of chapter 3. So, hey children, we'll be ending the third chapter here. What all has happened till now? They have finally began the journey towards Smuggler Top, and I'm getting the feeling that the mystery is going to happen at Smuggler's Top since it's such an interesting name for a house, and that's where the whole adventure is going to go down. Let's see what happens in the coming chapter. Looking forward to meet all of you in the next chapter. Thank you.